The diner sat on the corner where the city forgot to care. Grease stains on the windows, linoleum cracked in places that couldn't be hidden. But the food was honest, and Allison Crawford worked it alone: cook, server, cashier, cleaner. She had run Crawford's kitchen for 15 years, ever since her husband passed. The neighborhood knew her, respected her. But respect didn't pay the bills that kept stacking higher. One winter night, closing late, Allison heard scraping near the back door. She grabbed the broom handle and stepped out. A girl sat curled against the dumpster, maybe 16, pale skin blotched red from cold, blonde hair matted and dirty. White girl in a black neighborhood, which meant she was either lost or running from something worse than where she'd ended up. "You hurt?" Allison asked. The girl flinched. "No, ma'am. I'll leave." "I asked if you're hurt, not if you're leaving." Paula, that's what she said her name was, had arms thin as broom handles and eyes that couldn't hold still. She said she wasn't hungry, but Allison had raised 3 kids. She knew what lying to survive sounded like. Allison brought her inside. Eggs, toast, grits. Simple. Paula ate like someone who'd forgotten food had taste. When she started crying halfway through, Allison didn't say anything, just refilled her water and let her be. Paula slept in the storage room that first night. By the 3rd night, she was washing dishes without being asked. By the 2nd week, Allison showed her how to work the grill. People talked, not loudly, but Allison heard it. At church, in the grocery line. "That white girl's still staying with you? You know her people? You sure that's wise?" Allison kept her face neutral. She needed help. That's all there is. What she didn't tell them was that Paula had cigarette burns on her shoulders, that she flinched when men's voices got loud, that she woke up crying some nights and wouldn't say why. Food stayed tight. Allison stretched portions, watered down the soup a little more than usual. When Paula noticed and tried to skip meals, Allison scolded her once, gently, then let it go. You couldn't shame someone into healing. The truancy officer came after a month. Questions, paperwork, side glances at the white teenager working a black woman's kitchen. Allison signed what she needed to. When school lunches became a problem, she packed extra biscuits wrapped in foil. When Paula's shoes fell apart, Allison bought a pair from the thrift store and left them by her cot without mentioning it. Paula was smart. Scary smart. She finished homework between dinner rushes, teaching herself from library books. Allison noticed but didn't push. Then, one night, Paula looked up from a thick textbook and said, "I want to go to college." "Then you will," Allison said simply. "I can't afford. We'll figure it out. One step at a time." Allison started working doubles. Breakfast at the diner, night shift cleaning offices downtown. Her knees ached. Her back protested. She stopped mentioning it. When Paula turned 17, she won an essay contest. Small scholarship, but real. She showed Allison the letter, hands shaking. "This is because of you," Paula whispered. Allison pulled her into a hug. "This is because of you. I just made sure you had a table to work at." The night before Paula left for college, state school, partial scholarship, loans for the rest, she stood in the empty diner, helping Allison wipe down tables. "I'm going to pay you back for everything," Paula said. "Every dollar, every meal, everything." Allison smiled, tired but genuine. "Baby, you don't owe me money. You owe yourself a good life. That's payment enough." "No," Paula said firmly. "When I make it, when I become something, I won't forget, I promise." I know you won't," Allison said softly. "Now stop worrying about an old woman and go be young." They wrote for the first year. Then emails got shorter, calls got rarer. Life moved forward the way it does. Allison understood. She'd raised that girl to fly, not to look back. The neighborhood changed slowly, then all at once. Coffee shops with names that tried too hard appeared on corners where corner stores used to be. Rent signs multiplied. Longtime residents moved out quietly, unable to keep up. Allison, now 68, watched her diner become an island in a sea of construction scaffolding. Her customers thinned out. The landlord sold to a development company. Then the letters started. Health violations she'd never had before. Inspections that found problems that hadn't existed last month. A notice that her business license needed reevaluation. Legal language designed to sound official and feel threatening. A man in an expensive suit visited one afternoon. He didn't order food. "Ms. Crawford, we're prepared to offer you a fair settlement. This location is scheduled for redevelopment, mixed-use residential. The neighborhood is evolving." "My lease isn't up for 2 years," Allison said. "We've identified code violations that may complicate that timeline." He slid papers across the counter. "This is a generous offer considering the circumstances." The number looked big until she calculated how long it would actually last. Not long enough. "I need time to think," she said. "Of course. But I should mention, these violations may require immediate closure for public safety, unless we reach an agreement." After he left, Allison sat in the empty diner and cried for the first time in years. The eviction convoy arrived on a Tuesday morning. 2 sheriff's vehicles, a moving truck, and a white SUV with corporate logos. Men with clipboards stepped out, boots clean, expressions practiced. A small crowd gathered across the street, neighbors who'd eaten at Crawford's kitchen for decades, some with phones out, recording. Nobody crossing over to help. What could they do? The sheriff's deputy read from papers without looking at her. Legal terms, court orders, dates she'd missed because the notices had been sent to the wrong address. Accidentally, they claimed. Allison stood by the counter, hands gripped together, watching them tag her equipment. The grill her husband had bought secondhand. The booth where she'd taught Paula fractions using sugar packets. The photograph on the wall, her family, younger, together, before cancer took half of them. "Ma'am, we need you to step outside," the deputy said, not unkindly. Her legs wouldn't move right. The room tilted. She reached for the counter and missed. Her knees hit the floor hard. The air went out of her lungs wrong and wouldn't come back. "Ms. Crawford." The deputy crouched down, uncertain. She couldn't speak, couldn't breathe right. Just pressed her palms flat against the linoleum she'd mopped 10,000 times, like touching it could make this not real. Then the sound cut through everything. The helicopter came low and loud, wind whipping trash into spirals, making everyone duck and cover their eyes. It settled in the empty lot next door, blades still spinning, dust coating everything. The door opened. A woman stepped out. Early 30s, blonde hair pulled back, sharp suit, purposeful stride. She scanned the scene, the trucks, the scattered equipment, the elderly black woman on her knees, and her expression went from confused to furious in seconds. "What the hell is happening here?" she demanded. The suited man from the development company stepped forward. "Private matter. Corporate acquisition." The woman's eyes locked onto Allison. She went very still. Then she moved, quickly, crouching beside her without hesitation. "Ma'am," she said quietly, "what's your name?" Allison looked up, vision blurred with tears and dust. Allison Crawford. The woman's breath caught. Her eyes filled instantly. Oh my God. She stood up, jaw set, and turned to face the officials. Her voice cut like steel. Stop. Everything stops right now. You don't have authority, the developer began. I'm Paula Beasley, Senior VP of Urban Development for Meridian Holdings. We own the financing on this entire block. She pulled out her phone. And I'm looking at permit files that don't match city records. The developer's face paled. There must be some. These health violations were filed by an inspector who retired 6 months ago. Paula continued, scrolling. These notices were mailed to an address this business hasn't used in 5 years. This eviction order cites a lien that was paid off in 2019. She looked up. Someone want to explain how that happened? Paula knelt beside Allison again, gentler now. Ms. Crawford, it's me. It's Paula. Allison stared. Paula wasn't a scared teenager anymore. She was polished, powerful, present. But her eyes, those were the same eyes that had cried over eggs and toast 18 years ago. Paula? Allison whispered. Yes, ma'am. Paula's voice cracked. I'm here. I'm so sorry I'm late. She helped Allison to her feet, slowly, supporting her weight. Can you walk? Let me get you somewhere you can sit down. My diner is not going anywhere, Paula said firmly. She guided Allison to a chair someone had brought out, then turned back to the officials. Here's what's going to happen, Paula said, voice level but absolute. This eviction is suspended immediately. Every document gets audited by independent counsel, and someone's going to explain to me why a woman with a valid lease is being removed for violations that don't exist. The deputy shifted uncomfortably. Ma'am, we're just executing fraudulent orders, Paula finished, which makes you party to it, unless you stand down right now. She made a call, put it on speaker. Send the legal team to Crawford's Kitchen, corner of Hayes and 7th. Bring the forensic accountant. We're pulling every filing on this property for the last 5 years. Phones came out among the officials, urgent whispers. The developer tried to approach Paula, but she held up one hand. Don't, she said quietly. Whatever you're about to offer, save it for your lawyer. Within an hour, 3 attorneys arrived. Then city inspectors who actually looked at the equipment instead of just writing violations. The discrepancies piled up fast. Forged signatures, backdated documents, payments to inspectors who'd rubber-stamped condemnations. A systematic scheme to clear out long-time businesses that wouldn't sell, replacing them with tenants who'd pay triple the rent. Paula stood in the middle of it, directing traffic like she'd done this before. She probably had. By late afternoon, the eviction was voided. The developer was escorted off the property. The sheriff's deputy apologized, sincerely, and helped move equipment back inside. Neighbors crept closer. Someone asked who the woman in the helicopter was. Someone else pulled up articles on their phone. She runs a billion-dollar development firm. She just testified before Congress last year about housing policy. Phones lifted. Pictures snapped. Paula ignored all of it. She sat inside the diner with Allison, holding her hand. I was in Chicago, Paula said quietly, meeting with the city about a project. I saw Crawford's Kitchen on the demolition list during the site review. I thought, there's no way. It couldn't be the same place. She paused, composing herself. I had to check. I flew down here thinking I'd just drive by, maybe see if you were still here, and then I saw the trucks. Allison squeezed her hand. You came. I should have come sooner, Paula said, voice breaking. I should have stayed in touch. I should have— You came when it mattered, Allison said firmly. That's what counts. The investigation moved fast once federal auditors got involved. Paula had connections, resources, and apparently no patience for bureaucratic delays. Within weeks, charges were filed. The development company's CEO resigned. 3 city inspectors were suspended. Property deals across 4 neighborhoods collapsed under scrutiny. Paula returned often. She showed up in jeans and work boots, not suits. She ate at the counter and helped wash dishes like old times. They talked about everything and nothing, making up for lost years in small increments. New equipment appeared, commercial grade, top of the line. Permits that had been lost suddenly got approved. The building got repairs it had needed for a decade. Paula set up a trust, not charity, investment. Crawford's Kitchen became a protected historic business, locked into preservation status that no developer could touch. You're doing too much, Allison protested. I'm doing what I should have done years ago, Paula replied. You gave me everything when I had nothing. You didn't ask questions. You didn't care what I looked like or where I came from. You just helped. She paused. You know what you taught me? That power isn't about how much money you have. It's about what you do when someone needs you, and you're the only one there. 6 months later, Crawford's Kitchen reopened with a full staff, people from the neighborhood who needed work. Paula didn't run it. Allison did. But the business was secure now, protected, thriving. Paula established the Crawford Foundation, offering support to small businesses facing displacement. She showed up to city council meetings and talked about her story publicly. The scared white girl a black woman took in when nobody else would. Some people praised it. Others called it performative. Paula didn't care. Allison moved slower now, but the weight had lifted. She slept without listening for sheriffs. She planned beyond next month. On a clear morning, Allison stood behind her counter, watching the breakfast rush. Real customers, paying bills, keeping the lights on. Paula sat at the end booth, laptop open, working remotely, looking up to smile every few minutes. You kept your promise, Allison said, refilling Paula's coffee. I just showed up late, Paula replied. Allison shook her head. You showed up exactly when I needed you. Paula reached across and squeezed her hand. The girl she fed became the woman who fought for her. The diner stayed open. The promise stayed whole. And for the first time in years, Allison locked up at night without fear, trusting tomorrow would still be there. The kitchen breathed easy again. So did she. If this story moved you, remember, kindness crosses every boundary we build. The hand you extend today might be the one that saves you tomorrow. Subscribe for more stories where quiet grace returns with unstoppable force.